Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Storm, and for the next couple of weeks, we are going to work on some text adventure games. I love text adventure games. They're great, especially in HTML. I created one that was pretty advanced called Dead Wrong. If you want to play that, that's on my website. On the UMA teacher's website, you can find my game examples there, and one of them is Dead Wrong. I made it using the same concepts I'm going to teach you in the next 2 weeks, and then you'll have the final week of the term, you'll do your term project where you will use all the skills that I've given you to create your own adventure game based on, this stuff. So this is essentially what the game looks like. It starts out, you have this nice picture. It's a narrow pathway. Welcome to Lyrica. Try any of these words. North, east, southwest, take, drop, use, stone, flute, sword, help, right? So let's go north. I have a deep well. So let's help. I wonder if you could use something to find out how deep the well is. Try any of these words. So use, you're not carrying anything. All right, fine. Let's go east, the sunny glade. Let's try help. Try any of these words. All right. Let's go east again, see what happens. A tangle of thorns blocks my way. Let's try to go north again. Can't go that way. Let's go south. All right, an ancient gate. All right, let's see what happens here. Try any of these words. All right, south again. All right, help. Seems like a nice place for music. I don't have anything. I don't have a flute. So anyway, that's how the game is played. You kind of just move around and you look for stuff, kind of search your, ooh, I see a stone. So let's say use stone. Oh, help. Take stone. So now I have a stone. Woohoo. Maybe I can go back up to the well. So let's go north. Ooh, uh-oh. Let's not mess with him. Let's go east. And let's go north again. There we go. Use stone. Hey, let me take the flute. So you see how the game works. You pick up new items and you move around in order to find out where you are. All right, so I'm going to show you how to begin this project really quickly. I'm going to create a new folder called Lyrica. In this folder, I'm going to create a new index.html. Okay. Oop. And then I'm going to open up that index.html actually, no, first I want to bring over all my images. So I'm going to grab all of my images and move them over here. I'm actually going to copy those back over there so I don't mess up my finished game. I'm going to open up my index.html in CodeWriter. All right. Now here, I'm actually going to, instead of typing all this stuff out, I'm actually going to copy and paste my script from my other project, dump it into here, and then we will go over it as we see fit. All right. So this is the first beginning part of the project. I'm going to go over this as we look at it. So basically, if you start your project, you give it a title, and you give yourself a paragraph with an output, right? That's all we really need to do just to test the first part of this functionality. And then down here in your script, we want to create a new variable, uh, an array variable essentially. We want to create a new array. And in the array, we have 9 indexes, and each index is going to be the name of a location. For this game, we have a stone keep, a deep well, sunny glade, sleeping dragon, narrow pathway, ancient gate, edge of the river, lonely wooden bench, isolated cottage, all that stuff. So these are all going to be string values that get entered into these indexes, into this map variable, right? We're going to set a start location for the start of our map. So where are we going to begin the game? And then we're going to have an output. We're going to tie our output to our paragraph, and we're going to send our map location to the output. All right, so let's go ahead and test this. Let's save that. And we'll go back to, nope, wrong place. Let's go to here, and we'll open that up and bring it over here. And we can see we are at a narrow pathway. And we can actually change the map location however we want. Let's say instead of a narrow pathway, we want to be at a lonely wooden bench. So we can change our starting map location to be that, and save it, and let's refresh our page. And so now we're on a lonely wooden bench. So basically this is the structure of how we're going to get around the game. We have our map here, and we're actually just going to pull up the index of our map location. And if we update our map location, then we can just move around the map properly. Okay, perfect. Let's take a look at increasing our ability here just somewhat. Let me update this code really quickly. Copy. Oh. All right, now we're going to add some new stuff to the game here. All right, so now that we have our input, we also want to add, or now that we have an output, we also want to add an input here, basically telling them, hey, enter an action. Tell me what you're going to be doing. And then we want to give them a button that allows them to click the button, and then we take that input and make it do something on the screen. That's something we've done a couple times already. You already pretty much know how to do that. Next, we're going to take this map here with our map location, our starting location, and we're going to create a new variable called player's input, which is going to take in their input so we can figure out, what they want us to do. We're also going to create a new variable called game message, and we're going to set that as an empty string as well. And then we would need a new variable, or we need a new array called actions I know. And this array is just going to hold the keywords that you want the game to be able to recognize. Basically, I want the game to be able to know what north, east, south, and west are at this point. We're going to have a new variable called action, which is going to be empty right now, but we will be able to pull, we're going to store in this action variable one of these four if the game recognizes them. Then we have our output and input tied to our HTML, and we have our button just like we've done before. And at the very end, we're going to actually render the game. Okay, and the click handler button here is going to call the play game method. And in the play game method, we're going to set our player's input equal to the input value from the input field. And we're also going to set it to lowercase. And the reason why we want to do that is because all of our array values are written in lowercase, so we don't want to mess that up. We want to make sure they match properly. Then we're going to set our game message equal to 0 and our action equal to, or our game message to blank and our action to blank. The reason why is because this may not be the first turn that we're using this play loop, this game loop, right? So we want to reset it every time we start. All right, now here we're going to take a for loop, and we're going to use this for loop to iterate through the entire actions I know, array. And what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the player's input equals any of the indexes in the actions I know array. If it does, great. Then we're going to set the action equal to the actions I know array index wherever we found it. And we will send a player's action message to the console. So we can check that and make sure that it's actually doing what we want it to do. So once we have a player action, then we can go into a switch. And the switch is going to allow us to navigate around the screen. All right, now this is going to be somewhat complicated. So I'm going to actually go to, let's see, drawings. Oh, drawings.google.com, and I will pull this up and I will show you kind of how this works. So let's section out this drawing into 9 different fields. Let's say boom, and boom, and boom, and boom. So now we have 9 things. We have 9 boxes, right? And here we have box 1. Let's make this a scribble. Here we have box 2. Here we have box 3, so on and so forth. And actually, this isn't even box 1, now that I think about it, because that's going to be 0. Because this is an index, or this is an array, right? So this is basically our array laid out in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's a weird 5. 6, 7, 8. So if we imagine our array laid out in a grid like this, it's actually easy to figure out how we're going to move around this screen. So we've started in area 4. So we're here. Let's say if I want to move north, then I want to move from the index 4 to index 1. So basically, if I move north, all I'm doing is subtracting 3 from my original index, right? If I want to move south from here, then I'm adding 3 because I'm going from 4 to 7. And the same thing works over here. If I'm at 3 and I want to go north, then I subtract 3, so I go north, and I add 3 to go down, to go south. Now, what if I'm here at the top, right? Well, 0 minus 3 is negative 3, so that's a problem. We'll have to figure out how to handle that. And the same thing if we're at the bottom and we want to go south. Now, what happens if we want to go east or west? Well, that's easy. We just add 1 or minus 1. Depending on where we are. And again, we have to handle the situation if we're on the edges here. So think about this grid. This is how we're going to set up our game map. All right. So let's say switch, and we're going to tie it to the action. So if they type north, south, east, or west. So the case of north, we're going to say map location -3, basically because we want to go north. Because we want a -3 from our location, so we can go up. Case east, we're going to add 1. Case south, we're going to add 3. Case west, we're going to subtract 1. So that's how we're going to move around the game. And then we want to render the game again once we update our positional values. And here's the render method. Basically, we just update the inner HTML of the output with the map location, and then we send them the game message. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's test this out and see how this works. Okay, so now I have, here I'm at the narrow pathway. I want to go north, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to take me to the deep well. If I go west from here, then it's going to take me to the old stone keep. And again, all we're doing is we're just kind of marching around this map here. So I went north, and then I went west. So now I'm at 0. So I can go south twice from here to see what else we have. South, enter. I have my dragon, and then south again to see where we are, edge of the river. Now, at this point, if I hit south again, then we're going to hit undefined. Basically, we've walked outside of our map, and no longer does the game work. So we've wandered too far. So we actually need to fix that. So let's fix that right now. Oh, I'm going to open up my code again. So once you get to that point and you've tested it and it works, now we need to actually fix the issue of us walking off the map. So the way we do that is, let me load up my code here really quickly. The way we're going to do that is, let me replace all of this with the new updated good code. All right, so the way we're going to do that is we are going to where are we? Oh, you know what? We're actually not fixing that yet. What we are going to fix, though, is, oh, let me change that. What we are going to do is we're going to tie some pictures to the game itself. So what we've done is, all I've done is I've created a new variable, or a new array called images, and then each image is a different PNG, right? It's just the keep.png, well.png, glade.png to match these, right? And then I think that's pretty much the only thing I added to this one. Oh, then we have to tie in the image element as well here, right? And up here in our HTML, we added a new image selector. So, all right, let me start over real quick because I thought I was going somewhere and I actually didn't go there. I went a different way. We'll actually handle how to keep us within bounds next week. We're not going to deal with that right now. Right now, we're adding images. So up here, I added an image element here, and I gave its source to be blank. The width is 300 by 265, which is the exact height and width of the pictures that I've given you. Then I create a new array that has the name of those pictures in each index. It's still a string array. I'm not storing the pictures there yet. I'm actually just putting the name in there. And then I'm tying the image element to a new variable called image. And down in the render, let's get down here. Down in the render method, I'm actually creating a new line of code right here that says image.source equals images / because that's going to go into my images folder plus images map location. So whatever map location you're in, it's going to pull the image for that. And then it's going to update our map, or it's going to update our image on the screen. So let's take a look at what that is doing here. So as you can see, I have my narrow pathway. If I go north, then I have my deep well. I can go east from here to go to the sunny glade. I can go south to enter the ancient gate and all of that stuff. So basically, that's what we're going to be focused on this for this week, is getting to this point where you can actually move around the screen. You can update the images based on where you are. And we're going to make sure that our images are in our images folder here. Don't rename these, or you're going to have to update your code with the new updated names. But at the end of this week, your code should look like this. You should have your 4 things in your HTML: an image element, a paragraph, an input, and a button. You should have 2 arrays, one that has the message you want to go on the screen with your location, and then the next one is going to have your actual image names for each location. It's going to have your current map location on it. Or you're going to have a variable with your current map location. Then you're going to have your player's input variable and a game message variable. You're going to have an actions I know array with all the different places or all the different keywords that the user could type. You're going to have an action variable to store that keyword whenever it's needed. We're going to have an image element so that we can make changes to the image element on the HTML. We have output and input as well, and then button, just like we've done before. And then we're going to render, we're going to call the render method. And inside the play game method, we're going to update the input value. Our player's input is going to be equal to the input value. And we're going to set it to lowercase. We're going to reset the game message and the action. And then we have this loop that will iterate through the actions I know array to find out if the player's action that they typed matches up with one of the actions that we know. And if it does, then we're going to spit it out to this switch here to change our map location based on the values they've typed. And the render is essentially just going to update the output, meaning that paragraph element, update the image, and give us a game message if we have it. All right. So at that point, once your game works and once it's all moving around and doing the cool stuff, then you are good to go for this week. Again, make some changes to it, add some CSS, make it look really nice. I've given you this right here, this paper.png. Which is a cool background if you want to position all of your game elements, your HTML elements inside of that paper and make it all look nice. That would be really great. It would make it look great. But I'm going to stop rambling. This video's been much too long. I'm going to stop rambling and let you get to work. And once you get this game working properly, then you can move on to the next week, which will allow you to program the rest of it and have a fully functioning text adventure game. And then from there, you're going to make all of your own changes and additions and improvements and come up with a cool term project with a different topic. It's not going to be the forest of Lyrica. It's going to be something that you come up with on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this now. I will see you next week. Thank you for paying attention.